Most kitchen gadgets sold today are designed to be bought, not used. That is the honest truth, and I think you already know it. You have opened a cabinet, seen the bread maker or the pasta machine sitting there untouched, and known it for yourself. I am Hannah Mitchell, and I have spent the better part of 20 years helping people figure out what actually belongs in a home kitchen and what quietly belongs in a garage sale box. I have walked through hundreds of kitchens and seen the same patterns repeat. What I keep coming back to again and again is this. The appliances that genuinely change everyday life for the better are almost never the flashiest ones. Right now on the left side of your screen there is a QR code for the Hannah Homestead Guide. Open the camera app on your phone and point it at that code on the left. It takes you straight to the guide, and it goes far deeper on home simplicity and practical daily routines than any single video has time for. That same QR code is now pinned in the top right corner for the rest of the video, so you can grab it at any point while we keep going. Here is what the marketing around kitchen appliances gets wrong almost every time. The ads tell you it is about speed, doing more, and having everything in one machine. But what a lot of folks in their 50s, 60s, and beyond actually need is fewer steps, less cleanup, and more reliable results. Those are not the same things. The appliances that genuinely earn their place are the ones that reduce the distance between you and a good warm meal, and they are usually not the expensive ones. I have watched people spend $200 on a gadget that a $40 version of a different tool would have served 10 times better. Today, I am going to save you from that. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 appliances I would put in every senior home, why each one earns its place, and how to use each one in a way that fits a real daily routine. You will walk away from this knowing more than the person trying to sell you something at the home goods store. Let us get into it. The first one is a multi-cooker, and if you have been putting off getting one because it looked complicated, I want you to hear this clearly. The learning curve is about one afternoon. That is it. After that, it genuinely changes the way you cook. What a multi-cooker does is combine a pressure cooker, a slow cooker, and a steamer all in a single pot. For everyday cooking, this means you can put a piece of chicken, some broth, and a handful of vegetables in at lunchtime, set it, and have a complete, tender, full-flavored meal ready by dinner. No standing over the stove. No watching a pot. No worrying about timing. You set it and walk away. I will be honest with you, I was skeptical about these for years. I thought the old Dutch oven on the stovetop was perfectly fine, and it is, when you feel up to watching it. But there are days when you do not feel like watching it. That is exactly where a multi-cooker earns its place. It is also safer than an open pot for anyone dealing with fatigue or the occasional moment of distraction, because there is no open flame, no boiling liquid left unattended, and the sealed lid keeps everything contained. The pressure cook setting cuts cooking time down considerably. Dried beans that would take an hour and a half on the stove take around half that under pressure. Tough cuts of meat become fork tender faster than you might expect. For cleaning, most multi-cookers have a removable inner pot that goes right in the dishwasher. One pot, one lid, done. Budget-wise, you do not need the most expensive version. A basic, well-reviewed model runs somewhere in the $40 to $80 range and handles everything a real home kitchen needs. Look for one that has a slow cook setting in addition to the pressure cook function. That gives you the most flexibility across different days and recipes. And when you are getting started, stick with the basic functions. The multi-cooker often ships with a chart of 30 settings, most of which you will never use. Pressure cook, slow cook, and steam. That covers 90% of the value right there, and learning just those 3 will serve you well for years. The second one is an air fryer, and I know this word has been so thoroughly marketed in recent years that some folks have started rolling their eyes at it. I understand that. But let me tell you what an air fryer actually is, stripped of the noise. It is a small, powerful countertop convection oven. Hot air circulates around the food at high speed, which means you get crisp, evenly cooked results with far less oil than you would need in a conventional oven or a skillet. The real advantage for daily life is speed and portion size. If you are cooking for 1 or 2 people, which is the reality for a lot of folks, you do not always want to heat up a full-size oven for a small meal. An air fryer reaches temperature in just a few minutes and cooks a piece of salmon, a chicken breast, or a tray of roasted vegetables in around 15 to 20 minutes. The food comes out with a browned, satisfying texture that a microwave simply cannot produce. In my experience, one of the best uses of an air fryer in a daily routine is for reheating. Leftover roast potatoes, pizza, anything that turns rubbery or soggy in a microwave comes out perfectly crisp from an air fryer. This alone makes it worth the counter space for a lot of people. I have watched folks who said they would never use one become completely reliant on it within a week of having it. The cleanup is the other major thing. Most models have a removable basket that slides out, and many are dishwasher safe. For someone who does not want to stand at the sink scrubbing a sheet pan after every meal, this genuinely makes a difference. I would steer you toward a model in the 4 to 6 quart range that is large enough for 2 portions comfortably, without taking up the counter space of a small television. Stick with a basic dial or simple digital model. The ones with 17 preset buttons and a color touchscreen are not meaningfully better at cooking food. Hold on for appliance number 4, because that is the one I see folks overlook most consistently, and it may be the one that saves you the most in energy costs over time. The third appliance is one that gets underestimated constantly: a quality electric kettle. I know it sounds too simple, but I want to make the case for it, because I have watched folks boil water in a saucepan on the stove every single morning for years, and it is one of those quiet inefficiencies that, once you notice it, you cannot unsee. A good electric kettle boils water faster than any stovetop burner, typically in around 2 to 3 minutes, and then shuts off automatically. That automatic shutoff is not a small thing. For anyone managing a busy morning or the occasional moment of distraction, an appliance that turns itself off when it is done is a genuinely safer choice than a pot left on a flame. This is one of those old common sense truths that got forgotten somewhere along the way, and it is worth saying plainly. For daily life, the uses go well beyond tea. Hot water for oatmeal, for instant soups, for warming a pot before making pour-over coffee, for blanching vegetables quickly. It is the one appliance I reach for at least twice every single day, and over the years it has quietly become the most used thing in my kitchen. If you want to go deeper on setting up a practical, low-effort daily kitchen routine than I can fit into this video, that is exactly what the Hannah Homestead Guide is built around. Just open your camera app and point it at the QR code still sitting in the top right corner of your screen. It is worth it. Now, back to the kettle. The quality range here does matter. A basic stainless steel kettle with a simple shutoff in the $30 to $50 range does everything most people need. Look for one with a wide mouth and a comfortable handle. You are lifting this multiple times a day, and the ergonomics matter more than they might seem. If you drink loose-leaf tea or pour-over coffee, a model with a variable temperature setting gives you noticeably better results, since different teas and coffees are best brewed at different temperatures. But for straightforward daily use, the simple version serves you just as well. The fourth appliance is a countertop toaster oven, specifically one with a convection setting, and I think this is the most underrated item on this list. A full-size kitchen oven uses a significant amount of electricity every time you run it. For a small meal, that is a great deal of heat for a modest result. A good countertop convection oven does 90% of what a full oven does, in less time, using a fraction of the energy. For daily cooking in a 1 or 2 person household, a countertop oven can realistically replace the main oven for most everyday tasks. Roasting chicken thighs, baking a potato, warming a casserole, making toast, all of it, in a compact unit that sits at a comfortable working height and preheats in under 10 minutes. The reason this matters particularly for folks in their later years is twofold. First, bending to a floor-level oven multiple times a day is genuinely hard on the back and the knees. A countertop unit at counter height removes that entirely. Second, a smaller enclosed space means food cooks more evenly and stays moist. A single chicken breast in a large conventional oven can dry out faster than the same piece in a compact convection unit where the heat is concentrated and circulating properly. Look for a model with a convection fan. That is the feature that circulates hot air and produces even, browned results. The size should be large enough to accommodate a standard baking dish, which gives you flexibility when cooking for more than one or two. A good countertop convection oven runs somewhere between $80 and $150, and in my experience, it pays for itself over the course of a year in lower energy use alone. That is the kind of math a careful neighbor would walk you through, and I think it is worth saying out loud. The fifth appliance is a good blender, and I want to say clearly that I do not mean a countertop blender that looks impressive and under-delivers. I mean one that actually works. Powerful enough to handle ice, frozen fruit, leafy greens, and cooked vegetables without jamming or leaving chunks behind. This one earns its place at every life stage, but particularly as you get older, for a few straightforward reasons. Soups, smoothies, and sauces made in a good blender are one of the simplest ways to pack real nutrition into a single step. If you are trying to eat more vegetables without the effort of complicated cooking, a blended vegetable soup, roasted squash, sweet potato, anything along those lines, takes about 5 minutes to finish once the vegetables are cooked. It is honest, nourishing food with almost no effort. Beyond that, a high-powered blender handles things a basic model cannot. Nut butters, smooth hummus, thick fruit smoothies with greens folded in. For folks managing any kind of dietary change or simply wanting more control over what goes into their food, being able to make properly blended meals at home is genuinely valuable, and often much better than what comes in a package. The honest thing I will tell you here is that you do not need to spend $300 on a premium brand. A solid mid-range blender in the $80 to $120 range handles 95% of what the expensive versions do. What I do recommend spending a little more attention on is ease of cleaning. Look for a model with a self-clean setting. You add warm water and a drop of dish soap, run it for 30 seconds, and the carafe is clean. That one feature, in my experience, is what determines whether a blender gets used every day or quietly moves to the back of the cabinet. If you have found any of this useful, I would love for you to subscribe to Hannah Homestead and join the community here. I answer questions in the comments on every video, and there are a lot of folks here sharing what works in their own kitchens. That exchange is often the most useful part. Here is what I want you to take away from all of this. These 5 appliances, the multi-cooker, the air fryer, the electric kettle, the countertop convection oven, and a solid blender, are not exciting to talk about the way a flashy gadget is. Nobody is getting rich telling you that a $40 kettle and an $80 toaster oven will serve you better than a $100 single-function machine. But the kitchen that actually gets used every day looks exactly like this. Simple tools, real food, and minimal effort between the two. This week, pick one thing from this list that you do not currently have and spend a little time looking into it. Not buying it today, just looking. Read the reviews, think about your actual daily cooking, and ask yourself whether it solves a real problem in your routine. That is how careful people make good decisions. Before you go, the Hannah Homestead Guide is still there. The QR code pinned in the top right corner of your screen. Open the camera app on your phone, point it at that code, and you will have access to the fuller picture behind everything we covered today. The kind of depth and practical detail that a single video can only begin to touch. It is the resource I built for exactly the kind of folks watching this. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me, is there one appliance in your kitchen you absolutely could not live without, or one you bought and never used once? I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know. There is a video coming up on running a smaller kitchen more efficiently, the habits that quietly make the biggest difference, and that one is well worth staying around for. Until then, keep it simple, keep it practical, and take good care.